Is your friend Paul Wilbur and my friend, who you should know, Michael Holman, not Coleman from Integrity Music. I know the picture's not that great, and the sound probably isn't either. We are in Santo Domingo. We're about to board a plane here in, I don't know, 45 minutes or so. But we just finished a weekend of ministry here, and I didn't want to just pass off Motivation Monday without having the opportunity. So I'm going to introduce you to Mike. I want him to share with you what's been going on here this weekend. Michael Holman used to travel with me 5 years. He was my first full-time keyboard staff associate
in the early days.
In the early days. This is just after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, shortly thereafter. But we met at a restaurant, had breakfast, and that sealed the deal. So, Motivational Monday, this is to motivate you. So, we're hoping to motivate you to love and good deeds today. But, Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So, traveling with Paul 20 years ago is when it started 23 years ago. And we had some incredible times of worship and ministry. We saw creative miracles, thousands of souls come to salvation in Yeshua, and recordings and worship all over the world, passion like we haven't seen in years. And last night, 2 nights ago and yesterday, especially yesterday morning, was incredible in the presence of the Lord. We had a church, a network of churches together, and for a conference dedicating the history of their work and what God has done here in the Dominican Republic through them. It's been such a privilege to be a part of this. It was incredible to see the words that were given that were confirmed by things that had been done, and healings of minds and hearts and hurts and wounds. The passion of the Lord was so strong. The service lasted 4.5 hours.
It wasn't a Baptist service, was it? 3 hymns and a poem.
And nobody left. Not a single person. It was amazing. Just to relax, not be pressured by time, and just see what the Father wanted to have manifested in His children. It was a living room experience. And again,
this isn't a live situation. So sorry for this. Is an airport. We're sitting in an airport lounge here in Santo Domingo, and so duty free is back there, and don't be offended by all the stuff.
So traveling with Paul in years past, we had some incredible times, and yesterday was a refreshing and I think a restoration. In fact, the name of the church was Restoration. Yeah. It was a restoration of a lot of the times that we celebrated. I remember we were talking about this yesterday with 9/11. We were stuck in Costa Rica on 9/11. And as a result, we saw creative miracles come in the middle of worship. Nobody prayed for anybody. Deaf ears were opened. A child who had severely club feet and couldn't walk, his legs straightened, and he ran throughout the tent. And something's happening in Latin America. There's a passion within many of the believers. And yesterday, I was able to just worship on my instrument like I haven't been able to in a long time. With the freedom, nothing's programmed. It was just, there was such a flow of the Spirit of God.
New songs
came out.
Mike had a new song. I thought the song was over, but it wasn't.
We turned the song of Ezekiel into the song of Yeshua.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the old and new. Out of a man's treasures, he brings forth something old, something new. It's really remarkable. what's the takeaway for you here today with Motivation Monday? It's look, the Lord has invested eternity in you. There's a purpose. You're not just here taking up space. You're not just breathing air that other people could be breathing. There is eternity has been invested in you. You know that for the last year, I was on staff at Celebration Church, and it was God's provision during a time when I couldn't travel at all,
And your voice.
and I lost my voice. But the testimonies that came out of that, because all along our desire was to be out experiencing the manifest presence of God. And what Mike is telling you, that's our purpose. We don't do concerts. We don't go to impress people with how great the music is. Our whole purpose is to provoke the presence of Yeshua and to
Let
give
me
him.
jump in here.
Yeah,
When you were talking about testimonies, you actually sang your testimony yesterday in Spanish for the first time regarding your voice. The Psalm 106 song that you sang. That was the first time you sang it in Spanish. No, didn't practice this. I want to tell you, he knocked it out of the park.
I forgot that. That was so long ago. When was that?
Yesterday morning.
Yesterday.
No, but it was so powerful. I don't know that most of the folks knew what was happening, but Paul has a song about the testimony, about singing again. If you've heard the song, I don't know if he's released it yet. If not, he will release it. But it's about how his voice he's been able to sing again, and he ministered this in Spanish for the first time, and the folks began to weep because that was a cry of their hearts, being able to just sing and rejoice and express their love for the Father in a new way. It was such a connection. And the other testimony that I found very, very just that impacted my heart was the pastor. He made a statement, and I hadn't really connected this. I've not heard this very much over the years, but he said, part of their worship is being able to bring the fruit of their labor to the altar. And what he means by that is he teaches his people how to pray, how to worship, and how to share their faith and share the good news of Yeshua with others. And they bring that as an offering of the fruit of their labors as a part of their worship. They see evangelism as a part of their worship. It's not just what they do in a service. And that to me is so impactful.
Yeah. And friends, the emphasis that we've had in these last couple of years on the feasts as context for doing kingdom life. Not doing stuff, not obeying rules, but living a kingdom lifestyle. And so in many of these places, we're finding that Shabbat has become very important for them. There's a major church in Africa that called us a couple of weeks ago and said, "Thank you so much for your teaching and inspiration, demonstration, and motivation on the feasts of the Lord, in particular Shabbat, because as we embrace this as an expression of our faith and setting aside time in particular, according to the word, and these moedim, that they're important to the Lord, they still are." He said it saved our church family. I mean, this is a pastor, Mike, who oversees thousands of people in Zimbabwe. And he said, "Thank you." He said our understanding and embracing of the Sabbath saved our church during this long shutdown. Their main church is over 2,000 people. He has 20 some other churches under his covering. He said Shabbat has been a blessing like we never expected. Pardon me, I think I got a Dominican fly trying to bug me.
Going after both of
Is he there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Isn't it amazing? The Lord of the Flies is always wanting
He's trying to.
He's trying to get his word in here. So, listen, you have been invested with a precious treasure. No, you may not play guitar, you may not sing, you may not have a platform with a microphone, but but the Lord has invested in you. Maybe it's intercessory prayer, maybe it's the gift of hospitality, maybe it's a teaching gift. But there's as many gifts as there are people, huh? So find out what your purpose is, why on earth you're here at this time, and let's be about our Father's business. It's just amazing. You know, we'll board a plane here in just a little bit and back to Miami and then back home, home for only a couple of days and then gone again. And there just seems to be no end. You know, Mike, when we were in total shutdown, and I was having the thought that I need to be back out again after being in an office, and there was nothing wrong with it. I loved my time at Celebration Church, Pastor Stovall and the team, but there's something about face to face. Even the word presence, the bread of his presence, the showbread, face in Hebrew, it's the faces. Actually, it's plural. Hapanim, the faces of God. This is where we come alive, right? I mean, Zoom is wonderful and you can connect with gazillions of people on the cheap. Just push a button. But there's no substitute for face to face. In fact, that's what the Lord is saying today. You know, it's wonderful for you to hear about me, but there's no substitute for face to face. Don Potter wrote a wonderful song years and years ago that I've claimed as my own, just like Dance With Me, that I didn't. In fact, Michael Holman, we were somewhere in Michigan.
Traverse City.
We were in Traverse City.
Yes.
Yes, I recall it well. I remember the platform. I remember the auditorium. And we were setting up to do how long ago was this? 20 years ago?
It was 99, 2000.
Okay. And so Mike's got his piano set up and he said, "Hey, I want to share a new song tonight. I just heard this. Listen to this." And he played the song, Dance With Me. And I remember saying, "Wait a second. You're not sharing that song tonight. I am. I want that song." And I stole it from Mike, who stole it from, I think you heard it from Rob Stearns.
I can't remember now.
I think so.
It was an old cassette tape that was very garbled.
Yeah. Well, it was Greta garbled so much that I borrowed it from myself. In fact, way back then, before you were with me in Jerusalem and recorded that
On Lion
Dance
of Judah.
With Me on Lion of Judah, along with Show Me Your Face.
Yes, we did.
These bunny trails. I hope you're
It's-
following this. It gets a little weird, right? But where was I going with that? Yeah, you were with me in Jerusalem when we put those two songs together, Show Me Your Face into Dance With Me, for the recording of Lion of Judah, which I just heard from Integrity they're not going to produce anymore. I mean, just last week they said, people aren't buying CDs anymore. We're not going to print anymore. Lion of Judah. So, but you can still get it digitally, and amazing, amazing, amazing. See this relationship thing?
It's timeless.
It is timeless. It's eternal. And here we are again after 20 years of not traveling together. And Mike was such an important part of the ministry back then. What a joy to be able to minister together. It's like there was no time, no space, just picked up right where we left off. And so what's the motivation for today? Not only that you have a gift inside of you that the Lord wants to use, but the most important part of kingdom life here on this planet is relationship. They come under pressure, they come under attack, but man, above all else, guard your heart and guard the relationships that the Lord has given to you. This is the kingdom. Relationship is the kingdom. Out of that flows anything else, everything else. Anything else, Mike?
Yeah, Psalm 105 says this. There's three things in Psalm 105 that I think we should leave you with, and that those are these things. It talks about worshiping the Lord at the beginning, but it says, "Make known what He has done amongst all the people." That means share what God has done for you. Share the little things in life that God has changed, brought to to the fullest extent in your life, whatever it might be. If it's a promise you've been believing for and God brought it to pass, if it's a healing, whatever it is, tell people about it, your coworkers, your family. And then it says, after sharing that, sing unto Him, worship unto Him with psalms and songs of worship. And then tell of his wondrous works, of His deeds, of the things that you see Him doing, the testimonies of others. That's like what we've been sharing today. We've been sharing what God has done in years past and what He did yesterday and the other night. These are things. This is Psalm 105 kind of encapsulates how worship is not just us worshiping personally or in a corporate setting, but displaying the attributes and actions of our Father. He wants to be known amongst the people. How is He to be known? How is His name to be known? How is Yeshua to be known if we don't tell and share about our experiences and what He has done? That's the kingdom for all of us.
Yeah.
That's the kingdom for all of us.
That's so good, Mike. In fact, I'm reminded now of the very last words that Yeshua spoke before He took off from that landing strip on the top of the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem. He said this to the disciples: "Be my witnesses here in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, to the uttermost parts." The word witness means to be a faithful person who tells faithfully what they've seen and heard. That's all He's asking us to do. Be a witness, to be faithful to share or to tell what you've seen and heard. It's so powerful. Nobody can argue. You say, well, I don't have a degree, theology, last days, etymology, and sociology, and criminology, and all the other stuff. You don't need to. The last words of Yeshua were this: just be faithful to tell people what you've seen and heard. Those were His last words before He took off and said, "I'll be back." I think Schwarzenegger actually borrowed a line from Jesus. He must be saved. So anyway, without getting to the ridiculous too much, be a faithful witness today. The Lord will use that. You never know. You never know how. Oh, but I wasn't purchased out of drugs. I wasn't a prostitute on Skid Row. He didn't say that. He said, be faithful to tell people what you've seen and heard. That's all. It's amazing. All right, friends. Great to be with you today. This is going to post in just about, let's see, it's going probably about an hour or so. We'll be on a plane, but I wanted you to get to meet my dear friend Michael Holman, and
It's been a pleasure being here.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun. These relationships. It's good. It's good stuff. So, bless you all. Thanks so much for joining us. Join us as a world partner. Click on the description here on the page, and you'll be sending us. We're working on Peru. We have a huge trip coming up to Chile, 2 trips to Israel, back here to the Dominican Republic, a stadium, and some other stuff going on in Costa Rica. It's just amazing. Amazing. I think we're even getting to North Carolina and, boring places like Texas. And yeah, it's amazing. So open up your mouth and tell people what the Lord has been doing And I know it will bless them and it'll bless you. You'll feel like you're actually serving a purpose of the kingdom. All right. Join us as a world partner. Send us around the globe. You can come with us as well. Send us all the money you'd like. We're drilling hole number 3 in Zimbabwe. Go to wilburministries.com. There is video and pics and testimonies now of what's happening as the water comes spurting out of the ground in desert places for children, the very poorest of the poor. Matthew 25, what you've done for the least of these, my brethren, Jesus said, you've done it for me. Come on, you can do it. In this time of giving, by the way, happy Hanukkah, happy feast of preparation and dedication as we look to the coming of the King. We are just about to release a brand new recording that I know is going to bless you, that starts in Hanukkah and points towards, yes, the appearing of our King. Hope it blesses you. Oh, come, Emmanuel. You already know what the word. I rewrote some of the words. I think you're going to really enjoy it. So, God bless you from here in Dominican Republic, from Santo Domingo. It's Paul Wilbur and Michael Holman. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Bendiciones.
Bendiciones. Blessings to you.